talking about how to combine two characters into one, then we can form another character. Those are the one of the format or one of the formula that the Chinese character not always formed with 5 different elements. By sound, like ping pong, boom, we have the word for that. And by the shape, like the moon, the sun, they all come, the bird. And by the meaning, for example, you go, one go east, one go west, we call north and south. The north, that's why you have the back to back. And then we also have the how can I say, like the water, the floating of the water, and also the combination of 2 characters. Like for example, forest, you have 2 single wood, meaning a lot of wood, a lot of trees become a forest. So those are the elements that form the Chinese character. So we need to know all that. So when we want to combine them together, then you need to know how to make harmonize, how to balance. Like I mentioned, a lot of combination, you will see the left-hand side shorter or smaller than the right-hand side. And a lot of time for people have a challenge how to make them look harmony and look good. So I'm using an example for everyone try to easy to understand. So I'm using a sample saying that just like you go to dancing, ballroom dance. So ballroom dance, they require on the left hand side is a female, right hand side is a male. So when you form, then you can move nicely. However, some of the character, when they're born, were very lengthy. So, for example, our gallbladder. The moon is very, here actually it's not called the moon. I will explain that later. This is not the moon, it's our muscle. If the character itself was born the way it's very lengthy, then we have to accept it. Then we're using like a 6-foot girl married with a 5-foot boy. But how can we make it look good? You should not put this right hand side in the bottom or on the top. Try to put in the middle. So that's how to make the word, the character look harmony, easy to accept. So those are the rules. And another one is if they are stacked up like the one that we have in the homework. We need to know, for this also very lengthy, but they stack with other character. Now this one here, you can say they stack with 3 different character or 2 character. Okay? Now, and this is a very, very hard to do it. You have, basically I can say 3 character. This one is 1 character, the top one means stand. The middle one, you can just say, this one is a bit complicated. I want to say, okay, just say this is the sun. Actually, it's not the sun, it's talk. Because the sun is more lengthy. If we talk, more width. And also you will see the sun is close here, but top you have to open, you're not close, okay? And then down here is the word, the character 10, T-E-N. So 3 characters, they all stack up. When you have a stack up like that, how can you make it look harmony? How can you make it look good? Are using our body. This is our head. This is our body, the waist and the feet. So if you're using this kind of example, then you know you will not write the head so big and the belly too small, and the feet is the waist and the feet is like that. The head too big, it's no good. Or you make the head is too small, but the belly like this, also no good. Then you have to, that's why I encourage everyone, think, analysis. You use a pencil or a pen, write on a piece of paper. Try to structure. How can I build this character look good? And if you don't have an idea, find out from the book, from the Jutia, and check with cost reference check to see how the old master, how do they do it look good. Some of them, they are not doing good job too. Okay, some of them, they're doing lousy job. So you have to have multi to compare. Using your cell phone, Google. This is another thing I say, very good for us today to learn. Either painting, calligraphy, singing, or anything. Once you go Google, YouTube, you will see a lot. And you can compare. Some of them, when you look at that, you say, hey, this guy doing an excellent job. Some of them, they say, I'm doing a good job, but you don't accept it. So you have to have your mind to judge. So what is the good way to do this? Then after many times, you try to find out yourself from a piece of craft paper and by pencil, and then you will find out, okay, now I know this is something is good. When you find out, then it will build with you and no one can take it. Okay, no one can take it, and then it will become yours. Another thing also, I do this, and I do another one, I tell you the difference. Or maybe I let you to tell me first. One and two. Which way you like? One. Good. So that's how you judge yourself, okay? There are people doing something like this purposely. They want to do it like that. But personally, and you can tell, no, that's no good. And that's why calligraphy is, I always say, like building a house. Doing interior design, you have to have your own judgment. How can you make your judgment or your way of viewing the good? And you need to read a lot of books, especially related to art, especially related to some Chinese ancient literature, because those can improve your internal. And I can tell you, one of the person in this class, he's very good, which is Mr. Ho. He's the expert in Chinese ancient literature. He's a professor. I also learned from him. So he have a classroom that holds things. Sometimes some of this kind of class, I went a couple times as well. And tomorrow I have a seminar at that location. So that's how I want everyone to see, to judge, okay? Now, any question before I move on? Because when I move on, I just view all the homework, and I remember I saw some of the homework, some of the areas still I need to continue review, remind everyone to do it better, of some of the way how to move your brush. Any question about this first? Before I move on. Okay. Now I found the kick stroke this way. Couple of us in the classroom confused. Okay, now come down here. I'm doing this. This is the stroke that we are learning for Li Shu. Okay, and there's another stroke. It's not for Li Shu, for hand printing, 楷书。这个楷书呢是这样子的，跟这个不同的。Two different. I give you an example. I want Bruce to see me right. That's why I find the spot. This side is for Li Shu, the one that we are learning right now. Okay? Now the other side, on the right hand side, is hand printing. This is 楷书。No good. I cannot control my hand. See, even the chap stroke here is also different. Over here we have the pointed slowly down and then move this way. We pointed. And the right hand side, let me do it again. Stand up here. That is hand writing. That's Li Shu. See the difference? So make sure don't confuse them. Now, another one that make arrangement of the character. I found some of them, I have some problem with this. Now, I have seen a couple of us have a lot of space empty here. So what I saw is a lot of empty, no good. I don't want to make it cloud. I don't want to fill it up. But I want to occupy a little bit so they not look so empty. So what I try to do,
spread the top and the bottom almost the same space, a little bit, moving this in here a little bit. You can do this, come up here, no problem. But you have to try to tell yourself which way better. You can come up here, but a little bit inside. And then you can come out here. That's still fine. You see? I have space, I have space. I don't leave it empty. Empty like this, not empty like this. Okay? So this is something that you need to do. So that's why I encourage, don't have to rush to holding the brush with ink to write. You can use the repeated paper to practice, or use a hand pencil. The pencil is easy because it's so hard. You can slowly do so many times until your hand feel comfortable. When your hand feel comfortable, that means your brain subconsciously can control your hand. When you do something, your brain control your hand to do it. If you don't have it in your brain or in your heart, when you move the hand before you thinking, just like we talk, we did not think anything, we talk out loud. Sometimes it's not mean that way, but hurt people. So think twice, doing the same thing. Another one I saw, the hook also have a problem. The hook is not the same with the diagonal stroke. Diagonal stroke, you can just go a little bit and up here. But the stroke normally strict all the way down to the bottom and then hook like this way. Make sure this is the difference. Okay? 干部的干 mean working. Or the hand. Straight all the way down to the bottom, then you go hook this way up. That's the hand. This is the hook. And the moon is different. The moon, you go this way. So here, they are not all the way hooked like this one. This one goes straight down, turn. Okay? Now one more before I move on. The horizontal stroke with the silken head and the ducktail also still have some. This is the most difficult stroke that initial. You need to make the silken head. So you need to come down and move back up, but press upward, not downward, upward. So that's why when I press upward and I adjust the direction of my brush to the center, then I move a little bit down, upward. When you move upward, you lift up your brush a little bit. Over after passing the center point, then you have to press down the brush and then move up. When you move up, you turn a little bit and then you come back up, wrap up a little bit, wrap up like that. Okay, so that's called the silken head and that's called ducktail. Once you can do that and hit the center line, then you can see once you're passing the center, you don't have to purposely go up like this way. Because go this way is not natural. You just go down and then press down the brush and then it already have the curve, the dome. Okay? All right, move on. My goal is by the end of the class, and I hope everyone can write me a Chinese poetry in pair. In Chinese, we call 对联. That poetry in in pair, I can create a few one for everyone to write on. 4 characters on each side or 5 characters on each side. So when you do something like that, always have a format, have a rules that we need to follow. Normally, the right hand side we call the first line in English. The second one, the second line. But in Chinese, we call the 上联, 下联. Why we have to make a difference? Because the first one, normally to start some of the story. The second line to end the story. And then for ending the story, Chinese we have a rhythm we need to follow. So the first line, the last character, the rhythm got to be negative. And the right hand side, the second line got to be positive. Using negative positive is not 100% meaning that way, because in Chinese, hard for me to explain in English. Therefore, I'm using character, using negative and positive. But in Chinese, the rhythm, 平仄, 平仄. In Chinese, the rhythm, we have 2 of the rhythm. Either they are very high peak, like 天, 山, the very high peak, they call positive. Or the very low tone, 人, 成. In English, bottom, bottom, very low. Those are the positive. Otherwise, the rest is negative. Like 成, cut, short, wow. Those are the negative. 平仄就是这样子，高音、最低音都是平声，其他的，比如说阴阳散去，国语的里面只有4声，但是广东话有9声，就是这个原因。Once we know all that, then you will know which one to put on the right hand side or left hand side when you finish. Not only that, when you finish that, in this art piece, you need to have the following at least 3 basic things. 1, what day, what year, or what time that you write this art. Okay, where is the location you write? The last one, to put the name, who writing it. So when you need to put your name on it, in the old day, they're using the seal, the 图章, 印章. The seal, I don't have to explain because Bruce is one of the person that I know that he's very good on that, and he can do his own engraving on the seal as well. So I'm impressed. So those are the 3 basic things that we need to have it on it. So the last one, if you're going to give it as a present or gift to someone, you need to write down the name that who you want to give to. Or someone asking you, say, hey, Judy, can you do something for me? Give me something. Then you can write the name and then say, someone asked me to do that. You can do something like that. So a bit more detail, get more detail into it. But the basic one, you need to have the date or the time, the location, and who doing it, who writing it, okay? So those are the basic rules that I provide to you, and then slowly I will give you more and more information. 3 different strokes, the basic, the standard, number 6, okay? The short dot. Press down, lift up, turning direction, like that. And then horizontal stroke, the long one, the lengthy one. Now, light, press up, lift up your brush, changing direction, move on, touching the dot as a center line, using the dot as a center line. And then move from left to right, start, press down, lift up, turning the brush a little bit, okay? And the 2 dots, see, here's the center line. Then you need to dot, not too close, not too up. Try to adjust yourself about this much. Then you start from here. Up, and then similar location. Because the left hand side dot is a bit short, so the right hand side you want to make it a little bit longer, so that makes it balance. Okay? You can do just 2 dots. Personally, I like it this way. So you have a little bit of difference on the left and the right. Let me do it one more time. The dot. Make sure that in your mind, you're thinking the dot is the center line. And then from the left, horizontal, you press down, lift up, move your brush from left to right, touching the dot. And then after passing the center line, slowly press down, lift up, and twist your pen, the brush a little bit. When you press down, you lift up, and you twist your brush, then you will easy to get the duck tail, and then the 2 dots. Now I try to do only 2 short dots, so you judge yourself, which one you like the most. They are similar, just 2 dots, not one lengthy. Okay? Now another one is together. The word together. So the sequence, you have to do from top to bottom. So the dot from left to right, also the dot from left to right. Now, this one the same thing. Always do the horizontal from top down. Now, when you do this already, you do the second one because you want to finish the top one first. So the horizontal vertical stroke from the left first, and then vertical stroke from the right. Now you will see there's a little bit different. The left stroke, I make it purposely a little bit thicker. The right hand side, I make it a little bit thinner. Also, just my personal preference, because I like it a little bit different. They are not the same thickness or same lengthy. There's no, in art, there's no 100% what is right or wrong. However, if your character finished and 10 people come out to look at that and you get 8 people like it, that means you are good. You cannot 100%. And then from left to right again. Okay? Now I do one more. From top, the short vertical, a horizontal, and then from left to right. And then the long horizontal stroke. And then the last 2 dots. Okay? Now, the other one, the next one I'm going to demonstrate is either you call dictionary or very antique. It's a box. Basically, this is a box. But if you are smart enough, you look at the new one, you will see all I need to do is put a box to cover the character of together. It becomes another character. Okay, so I put a box first from left to right. Now I put this as a box. Okay, I press down the turning corner and I lift up, I come down. Now the rest is the same like this one. So you put a short horizon in the inside of the box, and then short left hand side vertical, and then the right hand side vertical. Now in here, you need to bear in mind, try to make the space similar. You are not 100% like using the ruler, but they got to be harmonized, similar, then they're good. If you have the left hand side too close to the center and the right hand side too like that, it's no good, okay? And the space here also got to be similar. Always bear in mind for all that. Now, I'm going to do a little bit different the next one. See? Once you take out the box, you have this. When you put the box in, you get this. Now, I try to do this one a little bit here different, okay? Then you can tell me which one you like the most. You can do that too. You don't have to be this side short and this side lengthy. I can do it this way. As long as you do it, you know how to control the location, and you know how to control the distance. Okay? So another one is called the flow, the water flow. Those are the ones that today's your homework. I want you to practice in class. So the left hand side is the 3 dot that we also learned from the day 1, the basic dot. But they are now applied to a different kind of a character. Now, in here, the distance, the same. But here, you will see there's a curve. Okay? So in your mind, when you do something like that, you have to try to make, why, I tell you why I will like the curve like that. The reason for that is because on the right hand side, you have something that need to occupy a little bit space here. See, I occupy a little bit space. And then, you see this one I'm not so lengthy up because I need to use up the space. Here's the trick and here's the beauty of that. If you know how to use up the space, you're thinking in the head, then your character will look good. Okay? Now another one. See, I use up the space here. Okay? Now, which one? Another one. This one is very much the same, but they have more difficult. I'm going to show you. The character did have the similar structure like the one flow we just finished minutes ago, but a bit more stroke, more cloudy. And I want to tell you how you control those very cloudy structure and make it look neat. The same thing like in your home, if you have so many
stuff put around in your house, you want to organize that. So you need to know where to go where. Otherwise, it looks very hoarded. So the free thought, similar idea that you need to leave some space for the one on the right hand side. So basically, I still leave some space there. Okay. Now I have a bit more. You can see it. I still have the curve, but a bit more space. Why? Because the top one, they are like this. And then, now, occupy the space here already. You see, they occupy, but here the empty. Then you put the wood in here. Now, you have room. If I put this stroke, this dot, why over here I don't have room? Then you put it up a little bit, then now I have room. Okay, so that's the beauty. When you're doing, before you write, before you're doing it, you have to structure the whole character in your mind. You know where to go. In here, I already picture the whole character in here. When I'm doing it, I know exactly where to go because it's already in my mind, and I try to take the picture, paint it in the paper. So I don't have to do thinking a lot because I already have it on the paper. Now over here, sometimes people have a dot here. It's nothing wrong with that. Okay. Okay. Now another one that I did do a little bit before, I mentioned a few times, mean nothing, 没有无. This character basically don't have a lot of tricks. The only trick you need to make the space equally. The dot, you can do the dot in here. Now, in the old day, when we were in school, including myself, we do the second stroke, and then the teacher say, then you do all the vertical first, and then you do the horizon. In fact, in calligraphy, that is not the right arrangement. You do the second stroke, and I leave the second stroke a bit more space than the last one. Now, I do the third one. Unlike the traditional in school, the teacher tell you do all this first. You should do this. Now this one, I make it a bit less space compared to the top one. Okay, and this one is a lengthy one. Okay, and press down. Wider, less space. Why? Because when you put the vertical stroke, you need to leave a little bit empty space here to make it not too overpowered or crowded. You see? So that way, this space, similar to this space now. This one you need a little bit space to make it roomy. Then you put the dot. Now this 4 dot got to be different. This one a little bit, you can do this one a little bit late. This one is dot. This one can be vertical, a bit long. This one it comes down here. So make all 4 dots different. So you see the space, the space, the space is all equal. The trick for this one is, so I'll do it one more time.
One more thing I forgot. When you're doing this 4 vertical stroke, in your mind, also thinking the vertical line, the center line. So that means 2 of the left-hand side should be at the center line, left-hand side. So the right-hand side on this side. So you still have some space. Okay, so here's another trick I forgot to mention. You can see, if this is the center, the space that both strokes sharing also similar. Okay, then you do this 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, now the last one is the one fish. This one I need to do it because there's a little bit trick in here. This one is the let's take the check of the fish one. Okay. Now this one is very tough. Make sure that you know the center line. So when you're doing this, you see, it stands by itself, very equal. And then the 4th window, the open like your home, the bedroom, the window got to be equal. And then the 4th dot. Okay, I do one more time. Now this one, if I want to play a little bit more artist, I can make this one a bit lengthy out. I can do that. There's nothing wrong with that. Because that is also one of the way how you design, but you don't want to overdo it. If you overdo it too far, it looks terrible. See, I have the center line here, and the 4th dot also similar. Now, if you have something like that, this side I want to a little bit extend it, and with stroke like that. Why? Because it's balancing a little bit. Okay, so I want to make this dot with the ducktail to balance this side. You always have to think about balancing, leverage. Okay? Okay, let's practice all the horizon dot. This way, and the cross. Am I right? Now, what I ask everyone to do, you can, when you get home, get a piece of pencil. Okay? Lightly, because this is the horizon, this is the vertical. So what I ask you to do, get a piece of pencil, lightly draw a line. Now you know the dome, the degree, how much you want to curve, where to start, where to end. When you do that, then you can start here. Okay, hey, I start here. Right? And then I move my brush from here up here. Now I stop, press down. That's a trick. Right? When you have a horizon, you can use a pencil, draw a little bit curve, a curvy line. So you can follow this. Come down, go down. Okay? Good? Number 6 again. See, when you know about the brush, you can turn around to make it look good. Lift up, turn, and then come back. Press up, and then lift, and then move.
press, make sure it's all round up. Okay. Now, some people, they say, Peter, when I saw you doing the writing, it seemed like your hand always move back and forth or shaking. I say, no, that's not shaking, because when I'm doing some area, I need to adjust the brush, the direction. So I move a bit back and forth. So those are not something that you need to pick up from me or to make it. I have one of the students, she always do shaking the hand. Don't learn that. That's wrong. I move back and forth always when I started the stroke or the turning corner or the cross, like something like that. Because the direction is not right of the brush, I'm not going to move the brush before I'm satisfied. No, something like that is no good, and when I return, I try to cover up some of the area. But I'm not recommend that you come back when you finish everything to do it. Otherwise, it will look terrible. People can see it right away. Even this one, people can see, but I'm not fixing it the way, like drawing. You know, when you're doing the character, you plan ahead, you think ahead inside your brain. It's very good. Just the same thing like you're driving on a highway on a city. You need to look far away so you can see any car in front of you. They're taking a break or they stop on the brake, and then you can prevent a loss of accident. The same thing with the writing the character. If you have everything in your mind, you already know where you should not go, the arrangement. That's how you can do your character, your calligraphy better than others. Because a lot of people, when they pick up the pen, the brush, they just go ahead and do it even without thinking or planning. That is not recommended. But it's tough for human being, for lots of people, that they can put something in the brain to formula like a picture, and they can put the whole picture onto the paper. But once you can do that, sometimes if I'm doing a piece of artwork, sometimes I stare at the paper for more than 1 minute, 2 minutes before I start. Why? Because if I cannot see all the location where I want to do, I will not start it. Because I know then something go wrong. I want you to have the same habit. You can think, put the whole picture on your paper before you can start.